6 days before the wedding, that girl updated her status again. I want to give my virginity to him, so I won't have any regrets. The picture attached was a hotel card. At this moment, Lanny was cooking in the kitchen. I heard his phone ringing. He answered it, his expression changed, and he glanced at me. I sat in the living room, smiling silently as I watched him. Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. He turned off the stove and walked to the balcony. When he came out, he was already in casual clothes. There's something going on at work. I've cooked the meal, so you eat first. I'll be back later. I smiled and asked him, are you in such a hurry because you have a date with someone? Lanny's eyes dodged for a moment, then he playfully pinched my face. What are you saying? I really have something urgent. He lied again. I grabbed his sleeve. I'm not feeling well today. Can you stay and not go? What's wrong? Lanny touched my face. I pointed to my heart. Here. He smirked and kissed my forehead. You little trickster, stop messing around. I'll be back soon. I'll come back early tonight to accompany you. He still had to leave. I haven't let him touch me during this period, so he must be anxious. As he walked out the door, I quietly followed behind him. How impatient must he be to not notice that I have been following behind, despite being such a cautious person? He didn't even park the car properly and forgot to lock it. I waited outside, waiting until midnight, but Lanny didn't come out. When Lanny came back, I pretended to be asleep. I heard the sound of running water in the bathroom, and it annoyed me. There was a lump in my chest, making me feel suffocated. After a while, the bed sank beside me, and he was already holding me in his arms. I struggled. Don't move, I just want to hold you. He kissed my hair, as if nothing had happened today. But the thought of his body possibly still carrying the scent of another woman's perfume made me nauseous. I tightly gripped the bedsheets, trying hard to hide my emotions, but I couldn't help but bite his shoulder. I was so uncomfortable, I needed to vent, or I was afraid I would go crazy. Lanny winced in pain and asked, darling, what's wrong with you? I didn't let go until I tasted the metallic flavor of blood. He sat up and looked at my pale face, full of concern. What's really going on with you? I've noticed something strange about you recently, but I can't explain why. What happened? Tell me? Looking at his disgusting face, I hesitated for a moment. It's nothing. I'm just feeling stressed before the wedding, afraid of making mistakes. He hugged me and lay back down, his voice gentle and soothing in my ear. I'll be with you no matter what. Seeing you in pain hurts me more than anyone else. I didn't say anything. He continued, darling, have you ever thought about what our life will be like after we get married? I don't know, because we won't get married. He chuckled softly. I used to dream about having a future with you. So, once you get what you want, you stop cherishing it. Is that right? I imagine you wearing an apron in the kitchen, making breakfast with the morning sunlight shining on your cheeks. It must be beautiful. I imagine us having 2 children, one that looks like you and one that looks like me. They would be the embodiment of our love, and they would surely grow up well. I imagine seeing you in every ordinary day. Darling, you asked if I would run away from our wedding. How could I possibly do that? I want to be with you for the rest of my life. After all, I chased after you with my own hands. Lanny Murray, don't deceive yourself. 3 days before the wedding, I never thought that this girl named Lucia would come to find me. When I saw her, I finally remembered who she was. She was a girl sponsored by the Murray family. She was quite ambitious, going from a small village to a big city. She secretly had feelings for Lanny. Well, it's not surprising. At a young and naive age, she met a handsome and wealthy man who seemed out of reach. This man even saved her from danger. Who wouldn't like him? Ashley, you've liked someone for 10 years, but I've only liked Lanny for 10 years. So, please don't monopolize him, okay? She had a beautiful smile on her face as she looked at me, but I didn't feel any warmth. Ashley, you must have seen what I posted, right? She knew that I had seen her social media account, so she smiled again. You should also know that we've kissed, been intimate, and that we care for each other and admire each other. I'm more compatible with Lanny, aren't I? It felt like there was a heavy stone pressing on my heart, making it difficult for me to breathe. But she was completely provoking me. Do you really think he believes that you loved someone else for 10 years and can easily fall in love with him? You've only been with him for barely 5 years. Lanny even told her all of this. Yes, after giving up on Eddie Flew, I got to know Lanny as a friend for 2 years, and then we confirmed our feelings and got together for 3 years. I lowered my gaze and smiled. If you're so confident that he will be with you, then you wouldn't have come to find me. Lucia's face turned pale, and she immediately fought back. It's only a matter of time before we're together, right? Just like you chose him, who secretly loved you. But as they say, what goes around comes around. He will definitely see the humble me who loves him. Because he sees his past self in me, he will sympathize and pity me. As long as he's curious about me, I have a chance to win. You, who are in a superior position in this relationship, can't understand. There were already faint red marks on my palm from her nails. Thinking of Lanny, my heart felt like it was being squeezed by someone, causing a sharp pain. I suppressed the bloody sensation rising in my throat, stood up, and looked at her word by word. Don't be in such a hurry, Lucia. The things we can't have will always stir up our desires. You should cherish your position as a secret admirer. because what is already obtained will be undervalued. I leaned against the car, took a deep breath, but the oppressive feeling in my heart was still hard to dispel. The dull pain in my heart turned into a knife stirring inside me, causing my hands to tremble slightly in pain. I covered my chest, suppressing the sourness in my eyes. No, Ashley Green, not now. Lanny already felt guilty towards me. It's almost over. During this time, I took him to countless places for the first time and had our photos taken. I gave him a task to make it into an album, representing the years we've spent together. I told him that these will be our beautiful memories in the future. Whenever he wrote down a location, he would pause for a long time. I knew he was reminiscing. Revenge is true, but those feelings are not fake. I will use his guilt as a weapon against him. Does it hurt? I hurt more than him, because during those times, my love was pure without any impurities. But I haven't lost, because I can love and let go. I just misunderstood the person. When I snapped out of my thoughts, there was a bottle of water in front of me. I looked up and Eddie was standing in the sunlight. I saw everything, he said. Even so, are you still going to get married? I didn't take the water from him. He asked, do you regret it? Love is an experience. I have no regrets. Do you want to consider me? He looked at me cautiously. I almost burst out laughing. Are all men like this? When you offer them your heart, they disdain it. But when you take back all that obvious favoritism, they rush to tell you that they love you. Eddie flew. I've said it countless times. I don't have any feelings for you. Even if I break up with Lanny in the end, I still won't choose you. Why? We match in every way, and we've known each other for so many years, inside and out. I sneered. So, do I have to choose between you and Lanny? Can't I live without you too? He tried to reach out and pull me, but I dodged. Then I heard a familiar voice behind me. What are you guys doing? I turned around. Lanny's face was hidden in the shadows, with the sun behind me. His eyes were dark and his gaze was particularly cold. He exuded a restrained but dominant aura, and he punched Eddie in the face. Eddie reacted for a moment and fought back. Eddie flew. If you dare to have any ideas about Ashley, I'll fucking kill you. Lanny's eyes were bloodshot, filled with anger. Eddie refused to back down, striking his heart. Lanny Murray, what kind of person are you? Dare you say that you pursued Ashley in the beginning just to disgust me? Dare you say that your feelings for her are pure? I coveted Ashley, but she never responded to me. What about you? Does she know about your affair? In an instant, Lanny froze in place. He looked at me in shock and fear. He said, Ashley, let me explain. In the car, Lanny was explaining. He said that she was just a little girl who liked him, and seeing her reminded him of his past self. There was nothing between them. Lanny tightly held my hand. I have loved you for so many years, and now we're about to get married. You have to believe me. My fingers tightened, and strangely, the waves in my heart began to subside. I looked at him calmly. Lanny, what if we don't get married? What? The panic in his eyes didn't seem fake. We're getting married in 3 days, darling. Please don't say things out of anger, okay? Lanny, do you feel unwilling, don't you? I smiled faintly. You think I chose you as a second choice. You don't believe that I don't love Eddie anymore. You think there's always a place in my heart for him, don't you? No, that's not it. I smiled while tears streamed down my face. Lanny, I really love you. I like your tenderness and thoughtfulness. I like being unique in your eyes. Or maybe liking someone doesn't need a reason. The way you stood in the rain that day moved me, and I thought maybe it's you. His eyes turned red, his voice trembled, and he wiped away my tears with trembling hands. I know, don't say it anymore. I always feel like you're breaking up with me. Don't leave me, please. Lanny, do you love me? He hardly hesitated. Yes, I love you. No one loves you more than I do. But it's also you who hurt me. I sniffed. Then I'll believe you once. After all, it's not time yet. 2 days before the wedding, Lanny and I returned to our respective homes. When he walked me home, he held my hand tightly, afraid that I would run away. Ashley, we're going to get married, right? I remained silent. He reassured himself. Of course, we're getting married. We will. That night, however, I secretly returned to the house filled with memories of him and me. I took away all my belongings. I even wiped away the strands of hair on the floor. I only left behind the pile of broken gifts he gave me, and the torn wedding dress, and also the diary of our wedding preparations and the wedding ring. I really wanted to see the expression on Lanny's face when he found out I was gone on our wedding day. It must have been quite a scene. The day before the wedding, Lucia updated her status again. The man I love the most is getting married tomorrow, but the bride isn't me. The accompanying picture showed her wrist being cut, lying in a hospital bed. I drove out and stood guard at the hospital entrance, wearing sunglasses. Soon, I saw Lanny appear. Lucia suddenly threw herself into his arms. Lanny stood there, not reaching out, but not pushing her away either. From a distance, months, I didn't know what they were saying. Lucia rested her head on his chest, crying nonstop. It's strange. This time I didn't feel anything in my heart. Suddenly, I remembered the second year of dating Lanny. When our love was deep, I asked him, "Will you cheat on me in the future and fall for a younger, more beautiful girl?" He brushed my face. "What are you talking about? Who could be as good looking as you? Besides, if even I can cheat, then there are no good men left in this world. I met you when I was 12, and we've been together since I was 25. Half of my life is you. How could I possibly fall for someone else?" It was all a lie. I received a message from my senior sister on my phone. "God knows how much I've been looking forward to your arrival. I always thought your application to the university was just a joke. Damn it, I can't wait anymore. How long until you come? I'll set off firecrackers at the airport to welcome you." Looking at the two people pouring out their hearts not far away, I lowered my head and replied, "Tonight." I had already cleaned up any traces of me in his wedding house. In my pre-wedding diary, I wrote in advance, "Countdown to the wedding, 2 days. I finally understand that one must love oneself first. It's not that I don't deserve to be loved, it's that you don't deserve my love. I have no issues whatsoever. Countdown to the wedding, 1 day. This time seemed like an opportunity for you, but it was actually for myself, so that when we separate, I won't feel regretful. That's why I watched your every move with cold eyes. I observed how you hurt me, how you felt no guilt, until the moment I looked at you and felt no love anymore. No ripples stirred within me, and I even started to find you utterly disgusting." Lanny Murray. I'm turning the page. I packed my luggage and turned off my phone. Without looking back, I boarded the plane. I have to allow certain people to appear briefly in my life. If I love the wrong person, I will bravely let go and move forward. Every road has its end, but I'm also looking forward to something. Lanny Murray. I escaped from tomorrow's wedding too. Are you surprised? In my 3rd year in the UK, I was fully immersed in my academic pursuits and obtained the position of an assistant professor. On the eve of graduation, my senior sister came to drink with me. I went back to country a few days ago. Guess who I saw? Who? It's your ex who cheated on you. My senior sister was filled with righteous indignation. That scumbag found me and was putting on a show of deep affection. Hearing about him again, I felt particularly calm. He came looking for you? Not only did he find me, but he also managed to find all your classmates from university. But you told me not to disclose your whereabouts to him, and your family blocked all the information, so he couldn't find anything. Anyway, he's quite crazy and eccentric. I raised my glass and clinked it with her. I don't really care about him anymore. Of course, he's not worth your concern. Before I left, he even asked me to bring you a wedding dress. He said he has been waiting for you. It's really ridiculous. Who asked him to wait? I shrugged. Anyway, it's all in the past. I wouldn't let myself feel unsatisfied just because the ending didn't match the process. There is no pain that cannot be healed, no sinking that cannot be overcome. I have long let go of all these years, but he secretly stuffed this into my backpack. How despicable. I took it from her. It was the album he made for me by hand. It was filled with photos of him and me, from being unfamiliar to slowly developing feelings. It documented everything since we started dating. Flipping to the last page, his strong and powerful words were written. "Ashley, I love you." My senior sister also saw it and looked at me anxiously. "Hey, you're not moved, are you?" I closed the album and threw it into the trash bin. How could I be? If I'm moved, it would only make me feel that all my efforts were a joke. My senior sister breathed a sigh of relief. But there is something you might be interested in. From my senior sister, I heard the story of Lucia. It seems that she was caught and beaten by the original wife on the spot, and she tried to use a live stream to clear her name. But instead, more evidence of her wrongdoing was exposed. They said she was a habitual offender, and all the articles she wrote while pursuing Lanny were revealed. Her secret love diary backfired, and everyone condemned her. She pursued someone who was already taken? Damn, it's giving me mastitis. I didn't know people still talked so naively about interfering in others' relationships. Confessing before the man's marriage and giving away your virginity? Is this woman crazy? If I were the man's fiance, I would go up and beat her up directly. The woman is despicable, but the man is not innocent either. If he had boundaries, could she have had so many opportunities? So everyone was waiting for the outcome of this relationship. Someone who knew the inside story said that the bride ran away on the day of the wedding. The man searched the entire city but couldn't find his missing bride, and he went crazy. Netizens criticized him harshly. My senior sister said, "I hope you never encounter these two bastards again in your life."